Hotep, Hotep. Welcome to Freestyle Friday with the Seshew mdw-ntr group. Happy to be back with you, family. I know it's been a minute, so we want to thank all those who are taking the opportunity tonight to tune in and check us out. Now, tonight we do have a special thing we're going to go into as far as with freestyle. But before we do that, we want to begin, as we always do, by showing reverence to our ancestors. And with that being said, we're going to present to you what is known as the offering formula, or some people refer to it as the Hotep D Nasut. And we'll go ahead and have our brother Sin Sean take that away for us this evening.
Dua Hotep Saint Antoine. As you guys know, the offering formula, the pronunciations are tentative and we're working to get a correct pronunciation. However, with that being said, if you are tuned into the show, as we always do, hopefully you can follow along with us. And I see it is now broadcasting on YouTube. So we have Hotep D Nasut with Sir Neb Jadu, Necher A Neb Abdiev Peret Keru, Et Hinket Ka Apet Sesh Minket, Ket Nebet Neferet Wabet, Inket Necher M in Ka in Aku Ma'akaru. And what I just stated was an offering the king gives Osiris, Lord of Jabdu, great god, Lord of Abydos, so that he may give verbal offerings in beer, bread, ox, fowl, alabaster, linen, everything good and pure on which a god lives, for the ka of the revered one, the ancestors justified.
Do all excellent. And what we do sometimes with that Hotep D Nasut, I don't know if you can continue sharing it real quick. But if you notice on the Hotep D Nasut, it says in ka, in, Mika, then it says ancestors. Sometimes what we do is we replace the ancestors. So I know recently Tupac had a birthday, so sometimes you can replace it if you want to show reverence to Tupac. I know Malcolm X, one of the brothers did a post and they replaced the ancestors with Malcolm X or Malik El Shabazz. And so what you can do, you can replace that with whoever it is you'd like to show reverence to. All right. Thank you, Sunshine. You did an excellent job. With that being said, I do want to continue with the show and go ahead and see who we have on our panel tonight. As stated, my name is Antoine Germain, also known as Hush Your Mouth on Google. And this evening, we also have several other individuals on the panels. Please take some time to introduce yourself.
ETM Hotep, Ren E, Imikera Ko, and welcome to Freestyle Friday.
ETM Hotep, welcome in peace, everybody. Rennie June, my name is June. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoy the show and leave with satisfaction. Hotep.
ETM Hotep, Rennie Sean. Thank you for tuning in for the show. Hopefully we have a lot of participants in the crowd today that'll help us get through this magnificent piece that we're ready to work on. And I hope you enjoy your day.
ETM Hotep, Dua Duau, Hekanu in Aminra Ta Kwa E Sekum, Ready E Kofi, Paisa, Hotep, Eswet, Hotep, Eswet, and on behalf of the Seshew crew, we would just like to welcome you all to the show. Dua.
As stated, ETM Hotep Abbott. So welcome to the family that's joining. And I'm also excited to have Kofi and June and Sean and Emiket on the panel tonight to help us out with this translation and transliteration we're attempting to do tonight in a freestyle mode. Now tonight we have a special piece. It's from what some people call, or what some people refer to as the Book of the Dead. We know it as Purim Haru, or Book of Coming Forth. We have the Papyrus of Annie. We're going to take a look at plate 3 tonight. We actually have several different pieces from that plate that we took the time to enlarge. We're going to go through and do some transliterations and some translations. That way we'll be able to go through with help with the audience. We can clean it up and come up with a sensible translation to share and possibly publish on our webpage. So I'm not sure if anybody has access to the YouTube channel and is able to look in to see if we have any guests tonight. But what I will do is we'll give them a little bit of time, because I know there is a delay. So we'll give them a little bit of time to first get logged in, and also we'll give them some time to contribute if they have anything they want to contribute to the discussion as far as what they came up with, as far as they recognize glyphs or transliterations or what have you. I know we got the picture up, but before we go into the picture, I did want to see if there was anything, we can leave the picture up, but I did want to see if there was anything that we need to discuss via that we've been looking at recently, or anything come up in social media that anyone's interested in discussing prior to going to the glyph.
Yeah, before we get into that, we have Sinette Lisa, as always, Sinette Monica. We have Akachi, Maat Chisholm, joining us today. I'm sure we're going to have several more who just haven't chimed into the chat. So I'd just like to say Hotep and Dua for tuning in.
Dua for letting me know who's all on the YouTube chat and able to contribute. If you could keep a close eye on that, and if they have anything to add or to contribute, I greatly appreciate it. One thing I do want to kind of discuss or kind of bring up, not to come to any conclusion or to give any presentation on, but just to let you guys know that we are aware that these are some topics of interest that we've noticed from our Facebook group. One topic of interest would be coloring. Now, we know that different papyruses, different wall paintings, and even different statues have different colors and different images. And so that's something that we'll be definitely addressing and being able to present some information on that as we go further into this discussion. Also, more recently, we've been taking a look at the different headdresses, as far as the crowns or the wigs or the scarves or what have you. So we'll be able to gather information on that and come up with something conclusive, to present to individuals or to share with individuals. Because these are topics of interest, before we jump out on a limb and just start saying things that are inaccurate, we want to make sure that we have gathered information and can present that in a clear and concise way. All right, so those are two things that have recently come up in our own group, as well as we know the No Pseudo Tour is hitting Atlanta this weekend, and so we have been addressing topics of no pseudo. We have been addressing topics dealing with pseudo science, and also looking at things such as the difference between religion, belief, and faith, and things of that nature. So, if you want to get a good grasp on that or a clear understanding, definitely check out the lecture that's going through to the different libraries in Atlanta. And also, hopefully, there'll be a DVD available or something that we can go back for the people who didn't get a chance to see those lectures. We'll be able to go back and look at that. And lastly, I know that tomorrow, since Sean is planning to attend the lecture, so if you get a chance, tomorrow will be May 26th, May 27th. And so if you get a chance to tune in to our Facebook page, we'll get a chance to see some of that stream live from the actual event. All right. Anyone have anything else they'd like to share or contribute before we go into our picture? All right. Do I appreciate you guys? Go ahead and I'm sorry.
Oh no, I just thought that was a great the intro, and yes, the tour was going on, and I think there was, I just wanted to add, there's a really good video with regarding the chakra, and trying to find the chakras in the Book of the Dead and all of that. I thought that was a very, very interesting, very well laid out presentation. So definitely check that out as well. I think it's on the Real Black Atheist YouTube page. And it's also, you can find it on, if you're on the group page of the Seshew, you can also find it there. There's a live video on Facebook. So make sure you join the group page and check it out. So yeah, definitely a very good presentation.
Oh yeah, definitely. I thought we would have more discussion on that because I thought more people would chime in. But what I'll do is I'll go through and make some comments, that way we can get that post bumped up, and we can maybe discuss some of the things that were pulled out, because I know that a lot of individuals deal with or have faith in what is known as chakras, and so we can kind of look at that and address it from a Kemetic or an ancient Egyptian point of view. All right. With that being said, we'll go ahead and get our plate posted. Remember, this is plate 3 from the book of what's known as the Book of the Dead, or Papyrus of Annie. Now, as we look at this plate with our audience, we kind of just post some things as far as what's the first thing that stands out for you. By now, you should pretty much know the format. We do a 4-step process. Before we go into the process, before we go into the glyph, we'll see if we can get some help from the panel in explaining the 4 different steps that are used when doing transliterations and translations. I'll accept volunteers, but if not, I'll just start calling names.
Wow.
Yeah.
Go ahead, MK, if you want to.
Yeah, I'm in the classroom, so
All right.
it's called cold calling. You cold call people to make sure they're paying attention.
Everyone does enough, but yeah. So you wanted to go through the 4 steps. I know the first step is what is the first step? To determine the direction in which the signs are to be read. And do you want me to mention all the 4 steps, or just one of the steps?
Well, you can mention them, but Sean, did anyone in the chat contribute any information that's related to the 4 steps?
Yes,
Sure.
Lisa did that.
Yeah, she way ahead of us.
She was done when we hit record.
Okay. So let's go ahead and just give them credit for what they did, and then whatever they left out, we can go ahead and add to that.
All right.
Yeah, she said look for the directions of the sign in which to read in, identify the glyphs. She put transliteration.
Can you tell me which step? Because it's like you're running them all together. So can you, as far as like step 1?
I'm sorry, I was reading what she was saying as she was typing. So step 1, she has look for the direction in which to read the signs. I would agree with her there. 2, she has identified the glyphs. This is where we would do the research and we would do the manual labor, so to say, as far as collecting the data to pursue forward in our method. As step 3 as her transliteration step, where we would group the signs. After we collected the data, we would start grouping the signs to come up with our transliteration. And then 4th, as she says, make a sensible translation. Attention. And I would agree, we come up with the best translation we can.
Excellent. We would give her a sticker on her paper. She did a great job. MK, you have anything to add or add to that?
No, I think she summarized it pretty well. So
now remember, great job. Now remember that all individuals that do transliterations and translation, they pretty much use these same 4 steps. Some do it at different speeds based on how fluent they are or how much they comprehended the transition. But all individuals use the same method at their own rate. Now tonight, what we'll be doing for the purpose of Freestyle Friday is we'll be combining step 3 and 4, only because of the fact that it is freestyle. And so we'll be going back and combining steps 3 and 4, which is the transliterations and the translations. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into step 1, Now, when we look at step one, we have to determine the directions in which the glyphs are being read. So based on the section that we have, once again, this papyrus is pretty long, or much longer. What we did was kind of break it into different sections. That way the glyphs would appear bigger. And so what we can do now is go ahead and determine the directions.
I think Synect List already did that as well.
To you. What Sanette Lisa went ahead and tackled for us is she said that we would read vertical right to left. And I would agree with her in the direction. The reason that I would agree is we look for signs within the first few columns that indicate, and that would be plants, animals, body parts. And as you can see, we see a lot of birds facing to the right. We see a few deities facing to the right. We see an animal up there in the fourth column facing to the right. And of course, the body parts, such as the arms, are facing to the right. And we have plenty of arms, even a few pair of legs facing to the right.
All right, we are actually able to determine it. Her assessment is correct. It looks like she's on fire tonight, so we're gonna have to get her on the panel so she can start doing some transliterations live with us. She seems to be on top of it. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 vertical columns. Like she stated, they're going from right to left. So, all right. So, this is pretty interesting. We have some that are red, and we have some that are black as well. So maybe we can get into that a little bit for those who may have not heard our previous explanation of those, and for those who have may have questions. Once again, this is going back to looking at the different colors and having that understanding when dealing with Kemet. All right, so based on the fact that she was able to determine left to right, the next step would be to identify the glyphs. And so one thing we kind of moved past is looking at the monoliterals, but actually going into biliterals and triliterals. So as we look over this glyph and we're able to look at the directions, within the columns, can anyone identify any particular biliterals or triliterals? Anyone from the panel, or let me see.
Yeah, sure. I can go ahead and identify a couple of biliteral, triliteral signs in the first few rows. We have the R8s. We have 3 of those. Below that, we have usually what we see after we have that.
You said R8. Is that what you said?
Yeah, the flags.
Okay. What do you mean by R8?
That is the the manual decoders. Is that's the R8 nature sign.
The Gardner codes, man.
Yeah, the Gardner codes. If anyone is familiar with what we use to help us figure out the codes, we use a sign list, and in that sign list, it helps us indicate specific codes. If you're unfamiliar, I would suggest that you get the beginner's book, and we actually have a sign list in the beginner's book. But to continue, I'm just skip around. We have what we see, a bird here with a long beak, who is a very famous bird here, depicted right here. I'm gonna jump over. We have the phallus here. We have in the second column, we have something that looks like an antler above that. with the little line there, we usually see that sign as a Maat. We have the Seshew, of course. We have the, above the Sesh, you have the I and the throne. Yep, all of that right there. You got that. You have the seated deity with like a flail. Below that, you have something that we should be familiar with underneath the deity. We just got done saying that in the offering. And I'll stop right there.
All right, Dua. Now, as we go through the second step, where we look at each glyph, and remember, each glyph will have up to 3 functions. And so, as he stated, one thing he was able to do was pick out the Gardner code. He said R8, and that was for the nectar flag, so nectar flagstaff or flagpole. And so, based on that, we will be able to go and collect information relating to that Gardner code R8, and that would tell us, okay, what are the 3 different uses for this glyph. Then, based on those 3 different uses, we kind of begin to put those glyphs together, which brings us over into step 3 and step 4 as we work to figure out a transliteration. Let me see. And also, June, you still with us? I'm not sure if you're with us or not, but I'm gonna give you a call.
Yeah. Yep. Hold up.
Can you do me a favor and kind of share with the audience how you use the 3 steps? I mean, how you use the 3 different ways the glyphs are used, and from that, going into how that helps you with your transliterations and picking out determinatives.
My bad, man. Can you ask that again?
Yeah, my question was, can you tell us, like, as far as when we go through the glyphs and we look like I'm trying to move over into step 3 as far as having the audience learn or understand how we break them into different words. Because one thing you do is not like an English sentence we can kind of figure out, okay, this is a word, this is a word. But when we look at the papyrus or this Papyrus of Annie, sometimes it's hard to figure out, okay, where should I stop at? How do I know what a word is? So based on the 3 different uses of the glyphs, can you kind of tell us something that you may do or how you use that skill or that tool to help figure out different words or different phrases? And in doing that, if you see any words or phrases that you recognize, can you identify them?
Okay. Do I sing? Thanks. Yep. In step 3, one of the main things that would help out is being familiar with determinatives. In most cases, determinatives are found at the end of the word, so that's going to help you with grouping. Also, pattern recognition, just being familiar with certain text or the writing, you'll start to recognize certain patterns, and you'll see more as words instead of just individual signs. And then a tool that's going to be very helpful in this step will be a dictionary to figure out the words and definition. So we use the Vigus dictionary. It's electronic and free. Holler at us if you need the link to be able to download it. And let me see. So that's about what I got for that step right there.
Do you recognize any, let's see, any phrases, any biliterals or any triliterals?
Yep. Well, at the beginning, from step 1, we know we're reading right to left. We see what we call formula, or what is called a formula, is a group of glyphs that are seen so commonly that we just refer to them as formulas. So we have the first 4 glyphs. We have the cobra. We have the walking stick for Jed Medu. Transliterated capital D, lowercase d, and then mdw. The next 2 glyphs is n, transliterated I, n. So we have common formula Jed Medu n, word spoken by.
Do I appreciate you. All right, Kofi, you still with us? All right. Well, look like my brother Kofi messed up. Kofi, you still with us?
I'm in and out though. I'm multitasking. I'm working on a presentation for tomorrow, so I'm gonna be in and out.
All right, no problem. At any point in time you feel like you want to add something, please feel free to jump in. We looking at the glyphs and trying to see if we recognize any biliterals or triliterals in the first 3 or 4 columns.
You want me to? I'll jump on some if you need me to.
All right, appreciate you.
Just wanted to add real quick that the section that Sinjun was talking about, we can see that it is written in red, and I think you did mention about different types of colors of ink that was used, and just wanted to add that to red. For the most part, you can see it on the starting of a phrase and things like that. So just wanted to add that real quick.
All right, yes, giving us an indication, basically the beginning, almost like a chapter or a book or what have you. As we go through the first column, there are several signs that I do recognize, and as he stated, we did have the mdw-ntr word spoken or someone saying. As we move down, the next thing I would probably recognize would be our ntr. I know the flag by itself is means ntr, so since we have more than one, we'll know it's going to be plural or referring to yeah. Yep. Can you say that one more time for us? Right. So to either referring to Seshew, or I think maybe the inad.
That would be the inad. We have
The inad. Yeah.
that.
And so that just tells us a group of great gods. Then let's see.
And then we have the next set. So I guess this would be an adjective to describe the inad. So it would be the great gods, like you say. So this would be the one for the great.
That's just going to be your ah.
Yeah. That.
This be our and up under that we have our en, like a water ripple. Now because it is a papyrus, and so the water ripple more of a like written real fast, what have you. Up under that we're going into Jehuti. Now this up under that, I am up under that Jehuti. I'm stuck. I see the before I continue, I'm sorry, I got excited. But before I continue, I did want to welcome Seba Wuja to the panel. I do see that he has joined us this evening, and I'm not sure how much time you have this evening, but if I did want to recognize that you were in the house. So if you had anything to say or share or introduce yourself.
Hotep, can you hear me?
To you.
Okay. Am I coming low? Yeah, just Hotep.
Yeah, it's low below.
It's low. All right, let's see if I can turn it up. How about now? Better?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, yeah, just Hotep. Yeah, I'm in the house observing. Yep. So It's ETM Hotep to everybody who's watching, whoever's watching, and I'm listening in. Excellent job so far from when I came in with the steps and breaking down the steps and proceeding to apply the steps. Yep. So that's good.
Dua. All right. So as I after Jehudi, I recognize what me personally, what I first thing I recognize would be the Emmy. It looks like it's the plank, it's two planks, but it looks like it has the two slashes around it, which would be, so that would be kind of interesting to, because I don't know it, this would be a point where I would jot down my notes and remind myself to, all right, you need to go back and do more research on this, what this is saying right here. Because I'm sure it may be pretty common, because I have never, this is one of those signs that once you see it with those, I guess Z2 or Z1s around it like that, once you see it like that, you'll probably recognize it every time after that. So
yeah, that would be these are the strokes, and you have 8 of them, and I think they're placed this way for aesthetic purposes, so the balance. Why? So we have 8 of them, so that would be Imi, Kem. So
you would be what?
Ken for the number 8, because you have 8 of them. You have 4 at the top and 4 at the bottom.
Okay, so it's just referring to the number 8.
Right, but in this case, it would be Imi, Hemnu would be location, which should be Hermopolis.
All right, excellent. And so as we continue to scroll down the column, I do recognize Viper with something through it. The water ripple, door bolt, heel, 2, what I refer to as in the set, I guess 2 reed leaves and 2 more water ripples, per with the enclosure and the mouth. And so that would pretty much complete me identifying what I knew from the first column as it relates to the, I guess the Ichitala speaks, or the manual decodage, and getting those translated. Now, what I would do is go through and figure out or add meaning to those based on what I did thus far. So let's see if we can, as a group, go through and add some meaning to what we have so far. And as we said, we know it's someone's stated or someone's saying. Then we know we have the Ined, great gods. That would be from our, as stated earlier, that would be from our three netters, and also from our up under that and then from there we would have in, so that would let me know if it's of or near or by, and it would be Tahuti, and then from there going down would be, I know we have, our next thing I would be able to identify would be the for some reason the door bolt in the heel, and after that would be the per. So the area in between that is where I would need assistance from the panel to help me out, or even better, assistance from the chat to help me out.
Yeah, I'm looking through the chat, but nobody has given anything yet. But I'll give them 10 seconds again. See what they come up with.
Oh, it's a 10-second night.
10, 15 seconds. I will give it 10 seconds.
All right. But yeah, so yeah, we'll give them a little bit of time. But now what my question would be is, we know that this first part is red, because it's letting us know, it's the beginning, of the chapter, or someone saying something to start this section off. But this part down here is also red, so that I would want to know or have a better understanding of why that section right there.
It's probably to start a new section as well, because you will probably have the red the inscriptions written in red where you have titles or like important passages and whatnot, and also like to mark like the beginning of a new section. So that perhaps could be the start of a new section. Let's see, because we have, like you said here, words spoken by the Great Aeneid, and then you have Jehudi, and given the location, and then probably this will be a new section marking what it is that it is being said. So that would be my proposition of why it is in red.
Okay.
Right, yeah, so nothing is coming off the from the chat, so we can just go ahead and I can take it from there and see what read what I can recognize. So this would be what we have the one viper, and then I think we have the Papyrus, and then we have set. We have the two monolithals, the doubled and the raised bread loaf. And then this section here, so you have the two rushes, and then you have the two water ripples. So this will be men, and then you have those perhaps as monolithal or phonetic complements with as we know, with the monolithal. And then the last section, I think it should be ending up here, so which will be peret. So that would be that for that section there. Oh, and I see Christopher Withers has something as well on the chat. He says Jed mdw-ntr Perjet Netra Jehuti Imi Hennu Heri FY, I don't know what that would be. Then Peret. So I get the first section is in agreement, which will be Jed mdw-ntr, and I think this one you probably meant Persejet on this one from this section here. So Persejet no, you say Persejet Netra but I think this will be the determinative, so it won't be transliterated in this sense. So it will be Persejet and then he has Jehuti. So then we have the N Jehuti, and then he has the Imi Hennu on this section, which will be that way, and then he has Heri FY, but I don't know what Heri Fi.
So what is Emicat? You still with us?
Okay, yeah. Am I coming through? So
Yeah, it sounds like you. Okay.
I
Only thing
lost again.
now only thing I guess what threw me off. You said he said FY.
He said FY, but maybe he can try to type that again and see what he meant, because I don't know what that is.
What where's he
Okay,
at?
so he says so he after Ken, I think that's what he said, FY.
If you would back up, if it's what he said, Persejet Netra, it would have to be Persejet Neteru, if that's the case. Persejet Neteru. And that's the company of the deities. And you'll see that in the Old Kingdom with 9 flags all together to know that it's speaking about the company of the gods or the divine company. So it's the great divine company. And then that N is not the adjective of the nisba adjective of, it's the dative to. So words spoken by the great company, the great divine company to Jehuti. And then Emi Kemnu, who is in the city of 8. And then Kerifi is the word that means so decreed or so says somebody. Erifi is so says or so decree, or somebody saying something. That's why it's in red. It starts off.
Now what's the
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
shit? Yeah, I'm saying what's the MEF? That's the FY he's referring to.
It's a Kerifi. It's the same word for Keru, which is the ore, and then the horn viper. That's compound, composited together. Those two glyphs together is the word Keri or Kerifi.
Okay.
And it's the voice. It literally is the speaking about the voice that comes forth, but it's we're used to making a decree or an order given or something. Powerful statement.
All right. So we have the powerful statement, and then we're going into the
Yeah, quick question. So this would be the natural would not be the determinative in this case.
No, I said if it is, it wouldn't be Pasejet Necher as the brother typed. It would be Pasejet Necheru.
Okay, gotcha.
Now my question is, since we only see 3 and not the 9, is it the init or is it the Pasejet or?
I think
the
it's
word.
tissue. Oh, go ahead.
Well, the word Iniad is 9. So
Okay.
there's no. That's the Greek way of describing them. But Paseju is the number 9, and Paut is another variation of that word. Of those two glyphs together, also is for the word Paut. You have Paut Necheru, which also means the company of the gods. So you'll see it transliterated and translated basically the same, saying the divine company of 9. But transliterate, some may say Paut Necheru, and some people may say just Pasejet by itself, looking at the 3 flags as determinative, as Emiket said, or they'll say Pasejet Necheru. Either way, it pretty much comes away with the same translation, same meaning.
Okay, so Pasejet will be the Kemetic term pronunciation, and then in it will be Greek, kind of like Hathor and Heru.
It would be the same as Kimnu is the Kemetic way of saying it, and then the Greek way of saying it, or derivative, would be Ogdad. So if you hear the word Ogdads, then they're talking about 8, which is Kaminu or Kimnu. And then sometimes you'll see Iniad, but it's really Pasejet.
I don't know why I thought I got it in that word writing Kemet.
No, Ogdad and Pasejet. I mean, Ogdad and Iniad are 8 and 9. Yep.
All right. And so we go down to the bottom where we know we have Peret. Now before Peret, we had the 2 reed leaves and the 2 water ripples. And there's the 2 water ripples is in, but I'm not sure about the reed leaves. And so I know it's saying Peret as far as then it has to walk in legs, so it's going to tell us to go. But I'm not sure if that's the 2 reed leaves are adjectives or location.
They are rashes and they are nen. So, and I think the water ripple will probably be, I'm guessing, the phonetic complements to those.
Oh, yeah, I'm
I don't
sorry.
know.
I'm sorry. I keep saying reed leaf. I'm sorry.
They do look like leaves.
Hey, just a real quick observation though. Although people transliterate it differently, if it was mean to say 9 gods, Pasejet Necheru, we have to remember that numbers are syntactically expressed like adjectives, so it will come after the noun. So it would be Necheru Paseju. If it was speaking, strictly about 9, the number 9, describing it. So we keep that in mind. So it's more so of a meaning of a big company, a big company of divine, of the the great divine company, not so much particularly on the number being a description.
Cool. We're at Inin Paret.
Hmm?
Oh, I was continuing where you were.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like you moved on to the second column.
Yeah, Inin Paret.
I think you're right up to this part. We just
Yep.
finished
to that
off
part.
the rest of this.
And then
So-
M. And then we have Rec. Well, I have it as R, but that's a single stroke behind it. Then you have the basket with the handle, which is the I'm going with .k. And then my I. And I kind of mess up this one right here with the phallus and the bread loaf. I think it's like what is that, Met? Something like that.
Meta.
Met, okay.
Okay.
And oh yeah. And then with seer, and of course we have the sesh sign right here. So with seer, sesh, and I think this is Ani, Ma'akaru. And correct. M, rec, ma'a, met, seer, sesh, Ani. So from the falcon to the double reed leaves. Ma'akaru. Yours.
Yeah, so you pretty much did the whole column.
Yeah. He knocked it out. Just need to go through and have a sensible translation.
Yes, I was just looking through the chat real quick to see what the others come up with, and Christopher Withers has M-R-X, Ma'a. And then you have Met, and then yeah, and we at the bottom. So yeah, so I guess it's this other part that was missing in the transliteration. So MRK with the, I think you say dot K in this section. So it'll be MR.K and then Ma'a. And he also has met and then finished off with Ani, so the Western session was missing. But that's what we have on the chat.
That's shit was here. Ani, Ma'akaru. Okay, two. Dua.
So yes, so Nantwan, you wanted a sensible translation.
Oh yeah, what do you got so far?
Um, so we have Peret, which is I guess it becoming forth, and then M will be the preposition in this case, of, and then this would be ro, because it has the function as a logogram. It has the single stroke, so it would be from mouth or from your mouth, ek, and then ma'a, which will be true, and then meti, which will be righteous, and then we have wasir and sesh, ani, true voice. So coming forth of from your mouth, truth and righteousness. Wasir describe ani, true voice. I think that would be a sensible translation. I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. See, I pretty much have the same thing as far going forth, your voice, your voice, mouth, because we know that single stroke is going to tell us to use that as a like an ideogram or what have you. So since its mouth would be like your voice is true or true. Let's see.
And yeah, meti, which would be. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just
True and righteous. You said?
yeah,
True
just
and
take that literal as true. Then
Straight or righteous.
Wasir Annie, true in voice.
Yeah.
What would help?
No, go ahead.
What would help? Okay, if you notice the red ink, as you all already said, that it usually begins a section, so to speak. So you're dealing with two beginnings. So if the first one is Jed Medu in, and then Pusejet in Jehuti, Imi Kimnu. So it's the great divine company saying this thing to Jehuti. Then it's what they say. Starts off with red. And so to make it make sense, this is what they say. So they're saying this to Jehuti. So you're the basket with the handle in the second column toward the top. That's the second person masculine pronoun. So you have to identify who that is, because pronoun takes place of a noun. So it's talking about Jehuti's mouth. So this is something that they're telling him that's coming forth from his mouth. So Ninpuret Ra'ek. So it's coming forth from your mouth. And then looking at the entire picture of the scale, remember Jehuti is the one who, if you read what's above his head, I know it's cut off in the picture, but if you were to look at within that same picture, you see Jehuti is the one who records the judgment, records what's happening on the weighing. And so they're telling him to go ahead and decree this about Ani. So they're saying this is what's coming, this is what's supposed to come forth from your mouth. And then it's saying that true and righteous is Ani, who is justified. So Ma'a, Meter or Meti, Wasir Sesh Ani Machiru. So they're telling him to declare him as being justified. So
the end.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the Ennead is telling Jehudi to record this down about Annie.
Yeah, to say it, to declare it.
So he has to say it from his mouth. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you had to, I guess the reason why I'm bringing that up is because what will help is to identify whenever you come across personal pronouns, it will help to identify what are they taking the place of. Because, you know, as we learn in English, pronouns, you know, they tell us that pronouns take the place of nouns. So it's good to identify what it is that's taking place of. Then it kind of helps to solidify your translation.
So this will be representing Jehudi.
Right. So your would be identifying Jehudi, Jehudi's mouth.
Yes, and I see from the chat, Christopher Rivers has it as, and we as well, and we also, we know that, you know, with Annie, there's always different transliterations on it as well. So it could be Annie or Annie.
Yeah, see, that's a the verdict is not in on that name because the way, you know, I think we covered that before.
Yeah.
Because literally it is plural strokes after the N. So anu e instead of and we.
Yeah, we also know that Annie was a foreigner, so maybe the name may be due to that.
Right. And those are very difficult because they switch over to group writing where they write foreign names phonetically as opposed to something that's internal to the grammar and structure of the host language. So more research has to be done on that.
All right. So we're going to tackle this third column. What we're looking at as far as time.
Just about an hour.
All right.
Time flies.
So as we great go into the third column, there are a few glyphs or phrases that I recognize. Beginning with the first one, it's like not or no.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's just in, and then up under that, I recognize were WR, F, and then another no or not. And another, let's see, after that, SKR, SKR. Another F. Let's see, KRN with 3 dots up under that. Another not, another no. So it's saying something, not something, or no something. And then after that, what's that? RTA. Is that a arm?
It looks like that.
Let's see. And from there, I'm pretty much stuck till we get to the M and the M at the bottom. And I recognize the instrument.
Is that like I'm a net? I'm a net. Internet. That was 2 M.
Uh-huh.
Don't judge
Yeah,
me.
that's like that. Very silent.
So from there, what I would do is, you know, I would go back and I already figured out that I know I have no, saying no something, or not something. So I would look at those different phrases or different groups and try to determine exactly what it is saying. And so, like I said, the first one we AT, and then were. I'm not sure about that. I believe that is a determinative, but I can't. I don't know what the actual glyph is behind the leg, and then above the were, I recognize the look like an X, which throws me off. It's just like that just seems out of place. But so if anyone else can help us out with figuring out what comes after the not and the nose on a panel or on the live YouTube chat, greatly appreciate it.
Christopher Withers has some of them. So he has nen, and then he has beta F, and then he has nen, and then sakir F, which exists, and then he has her. So stops here. He stops at that point. Let me see. Let's get back again. Yeah. So he stops here. So it would be nen, beta F, nen, sakir F, her. So yeah, and I think this you were asking what it was. It was like kill. I think that's what he has as T, B, T, and then A, which is, I think is omitted here. So that would be the first in the first list of the negated things that you were talking about.
So, you know, keeping in mind of what we said for the previous two columns, the great company of the great divine company speaking to Jehuti, who is among the 8, they're saying, look, say this out of your mouth. Declare that the scribe Ani is true and righteous. And here's the reason why. Nin beta F, he has not done any evil. Nin seker F, he does not have any bad conduct. Kerni, which is before Kernu, before us. Like as far as we're concerned, we haven't seen any of that. So Ker is you know, in the presence of or before, in, you know, will be, you know, the suffix, so it'll be before us.
Before us.
Mm-hmm.
So before us is which? Can you identify that again for us?
Ker, I think the cursor was there. Ker, which is the placenta mouth, and then you have the ripple and 3 strokes.
Okay, yeah, I recognize to be the first 2. The 3 strokes kind of threw me off. So the first 2 kind of use like in the presence of. Would be, and Sean, what you say for the M? You said you thought that was what?
I'm a met. Might be saying it wrong.
Okay, yeah, I think I see the determinative behind it. So, and I see the T up there too. So, yeah.
Yeah. Was wondering what this one is. I think we skipped it. This
Yeah, the next negate.
Yeah,
I
the
have
next
not.
negation. Yeah. Oh, he is not. Oh, yeah.
Oh, see, like I said, I had what, RT.
Yeah, this is a little. I'm not sure what this would be. Somebody's asking on the chat. Second, why isn't it second to do, or is the third JED columns a
Is it
determinative?
second?
Oh, okay. No, I see some. I think thought this was the JED column.
Oh,
Just about the second negation. We see that what SKR. They want to know what that was.
Yeah, yeah. So, but these are not the JED columns in that sense.
So what is the is the determinative for command? Because he said I'm not commanded.
You mean this one? Is that what you're asking, Antoine? I didn't get it.
Correct. Because we know the first one is I have not done evil. Then the second one is no evil. And the second one is no
Right.
something
I think this
before
one
us.
was translated as evil as well, and this
No
one
evil
was
before us.
yes, he
And then
forbids
so
evil before us.
so what's the determinative?
Not sure of the name of the determinative, so I won't be able to add on that.
is the other one? I'm guessing. And now I've done no evil.
But yeah, that was just a question. I think, but he said you get it. It was just to that he thought that was the JED pillars, but they're not. So we have to find out what this other part is. I guess the third negation. Nen, is it nen are at or nen rat or nen? Not sure.
I have not done evil. I
But
have
yeah,
not done. Not done evil. I have not.
but in this case, we'll probably just to keep it moving. We can just leave it here, and then we can look for it later, or click up a bit so we don't get stuck on it.
Yeah, we don't want to get stuck on it, and we know it has that name after it. So we have to do something dealing with that name.
Yes. So then we have this will be second, and then like some John was saying remit. So I guess it will be Jehudi declaring that the Seshew hasn't done any evil or any sin or any the third one that we cannot find now, and then we have second, and then Amemet.
Yeah, but see, when I see the crocodile head dog, whatever you want to call it, I just get this notion of like if you've done something wrong or out of place here, that this person would determine your fate. You know, I mean, we are talking about.
True, and I guess because this word could mean fury as well. So you have maybe so probably here is like the negation is so that because he hasn't done anything, so then he doesn't have to go through the fury of Amemet. So maybe this is Nen, and then not sure what this is, but then you have fury and then Amemet. So probably because he hasn't done any wrongdoing or any evil, so he should not, you know, feel fury or armament. That's my guess on the translation so far.
The right below nin. Hold up, let me see if I can see your cursor. The third nin, you have the nin at the top of the third column, and then the second nin, and then the third nin, and then that R or mouth, bread loaf, and arm is one of the ways in which the word to give is written, like ready.
Oh,
Reddit, which means to give, but it also means to allow something to happen, to
okay.
give something, or it means to grant. So this one is used in the sense of permission or to allow something. So it's basically saying not to allow, and then the second staff is there, and then we have amit. So it's basically not to give or not to allow or not to grant permission to amit, and then mf, which is with him, on him. So basically it's saying, and like I said, when you're doing this, you got to keep it in context of what we all said before. You got the company of the nine saying this is to Jehuti to declare, describe Ani, that he's true and righteous, and that he hasn't done evil, he hasn't had any bad conduct, and do not allow, or it is not allowed for Amamit to basically take advantage of him. Because we're dealing with the scene. You see Amamit at the bottom of the picture there, and everything. So so we're combining. See, all of this is step 4 of the process. And step 4, you have to take in all of the context clues, everything. You got to put it all together and make a sensible translation. So you have to take inventory of the entire scene that you're looking at, all the different elements and things like that. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, or suggesting that everyone does that, so it all makes sense and kind of keep it into that frame, sensible frame.
Then we have Emmy again. It's like that ready, almost like that ready again too.
Yeah. This could also mean image, so I'm not sure if it's part of that as well, because that too can be ready or D or in.
What's that? After that, TWNF. So we have another pronoun to identify, given what they're still referring to. The noun to replace his, or giving him, or his. It probably would be Annie.
Yeah. Is that Senu? All of that's going to be one word. Start with the double thing. All the way down to the dots. Senu Paret again.
Looks like it, because yeah, it probably makes sense now. Yeah.
So it'll be Senu Paret. We're coming forth again. We have the M. Yeah, what is that?
That one?
Yeah, but wouldn't the next 3 signs be one word before Wasir?
Okay. Yeah, this one would be
Oh, let me not put my foot in my mouth.
I thought you said, what did you say?
I said imba. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Imba was seer. Is that supposed to be a boat with the two nature flags?
That one?
Yeah.
Don't look like it though.
Wasir. Peru, Haret, and Ba Wasir. Wasir.
Okay, so what did we get for this section? Just so it makes sense with what we have so far.
I just know we
Yes,
have.
we have. Go ahead.
Oh no, I just know we have a bunch of pronouns in that column. I know, like we left off with, not to give to emit.
Yeah, and I think we left it here on him. So then I think we should make sense of this section. So we have im. Yeah, we have probably imi and then ready. Is that what you said, Saint Antoine? Somebody said imi ready. Legit.
Yeah, I was saying ready again, similar to the previous column.
Okay. So yes, so imi ready and then NF. And I think was it Saint-Sean is saying Senu. And then
where are you at right now?
yeah. This fourth column. We left it off here. This part. I think that's where you stop translating it.
Okay, what do you get for the read, owl, the half, and then the arm and all of that? What was that for?
Then we got as imi ready. Ready.
Yeah, imi ready.
Okay.
So
yeah, that would be kind of tricky because that's what it looks like. M and then ready, because you have the arm with the like a conical loaf in it, and then two, so you give. But as I believe somebody said in the chat that Christopher Withers is an imperative, and an imperative is basically a command telling somebody to do something, like do it. So that's what that is saying. It's saying you give. So it's it would be like saying M. So M2 is like you give as an imperative. So you give in F to him. So M2 in F, you give to him, and then it should be what? Give what? And then you'll be able to see.
So we have this as Senu. So you have Senu and then Heret and Ba. So you give him offerings. coming forth in the presence of,
Mm-hmm.
then it continues to listen.
Yeah. Yep. And then you have Wasir. And then after that, that's where you know stop so far. So in the presence of Wasir, or coming forth from the presence of Wasir.
Right. Now from there, I don't recognize those, but I see the offering again after offering um, the three dots, so maybe their offerings or offerings. I see Shimharu, Shimsharu. So
Mm-hmm.
offering Shimsharu.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm not sure what's between the Wasir and the offering Shimsaru.
Not sure what this would be, but it would look like, is it something to do with fields or something like that? I know this one would be, we have this as fields. I don't know if there's another way of writing it, but yes, here's what it would be, fields of offerings. But I don't know if this is fields as well.
Okay, I mean, you know, because freestyle, you're not really
So
using the dictionary, so it's like, you know, whatever we're already familiar with, and you see the that bottom part, like you said, it's a fields. So you know,
yeah, so and then you have men.
And I skipped all of that.
The
I
what?
went all the way down to like the hey root.
Ah, okay. Okay, so we have in the presence of Mercer, and then we leave this as blank, and then you have men, which I think probably here would be like stable. So
mm-hmm.
so would be that part, men, and then this will probably be a preposition as well, of, and then this will definitely be fields, and we have offerings as well. So fields of offering, and then we have me, like, and then like St. Antoine said, Shemsu, like the followers of Heru. Yeah, so that part I would be unclear on.
All right. So without what's unclear, what do you have so far? Once you establish that he is to be given the offerings that come forth from the presence of Wasir, and then what?
From the presence of Wasir. Fields, offerings, like followers of Horus, followers of Heru.
Okay. And you pretty much get the gist that it's coming from the field saket, which is that those three reed leaves coming out, you know, growing out, and right there, saket, and then hetep or hetepu. So the offerings. The field of offerings, you know, and then it's like, and then the followers of Heru. Shemsu Her or Hor. Shemsu Heru. Mi Shemsu Heru.
So it's saying Annie should be Annie should get the fields of offering just like the followers of Haru.
Yes. And see, that's enough to get the bulk gist, and then obviously you're not using any dictionaries or anything. So then when you actually crack open dictionary and look up the actual words, then it'll be that much more fine-tuned translation. But that's good without using any materials, just to get that. But I was saying what would help out is definitely whenever you come across personal pronouns, suffix personal pronouns, they speak in persons. So persons is the actor in a conversation. So you always want to try to figure out who is the pronoun, being used for. That'll help, kind of fine tune things as well. And then like as you move forward, you got to remember what you had previously to it. Just like how we pick contents out of English paragraphs, same thing. It's all detective work. You got to use everything that's available, and you utilize the vignettes in the scenes, the figures, what's going on, and all available stuff that you already know. Because a lot of these texts are repetitive. It's very rarely that you'll find something in isolation, and I know we already say that already. So yeah, that's it.
That looks like did a pretty good job. You want to have anything else I want to add to this? Looks like we did all 5 columns. And the other columns look like they're facing the opposite direction. So the ones at the top will probably go with the object at the top, and the ones at the bottom will probably go with, I guess that's the image. So that might be, and those two figures we just talked about. Tahuti and Emmet. So those columns that are facing the other direction, that will probably be read left to right. We'll probably have to have the other scene to look at those. So for this evening, I do think you guys did an excellent job knocking out 5 columns in about 2 hours. I'm rich. Used to take about 2 hours to get done with one column. So I do see some growth.
Yeah,
I definitely appreciate I definitely appreciate the audience, YouTube, for chiming in and helping us out.
Yeah, St. David popped up. He chirped in immediately.
Okay. You said David?
Yeah, St.
Okay.
David.
Okay, yes, I know that Lisa contributed, and also Chris, and so if I forget anyone, or if we didn't mention anyone, definitely appreciate their contribution.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, Finette has already did directions for the rest of those before we hit record as well. And I think Christopher Wheaton's had a question in the chat. I don't know if I should wait first and come back to it.
Yeah, Hotep, Sinteba. The SARS in the chat is black. The black man is God.
Okay, Hotep. What was the question first? Because I wanted to say, I just wanted to kind of add to the discussion. Would you suggest sometimes just meditating on the vignettes before attempting to read the piece? Would this be a preliminary step before the four step method? Actually, yes, and actually I have that in the book. Inside chapter 8 of the beginner's book, I recommend that what I call it is a one over. You want to do a one over or collect, an inventory of what it is that you're looking at. So, you may call it meditating on it or whatever the case is, but you want to give a good, overlook of whatever it is you're doing. Try to identify different things just to keep in your mind. and then before you tackle it. See, it's the same approach that I don't know. Maybe I'm a CSI kind of person that watch. I used to watch CSI shows like First 48 when people are snitching on each other and people walking up, detective shows and stuff. You know what I mean? All the way from Scooby Doo and solving the mysteries. But but it's like that. You come up on a scene, nothing. So the first thing you do is observation. You got to observe where things are and what you're dealing with, what's around you. So it's just the basic common things that we do all the time. So yeah, but that's what I have in the book as well. But yes, right, before you do that, just kind of look over everything, see what you're dealing with, the figures, look at the different sizes, because usually in the vignettes or the different scenes, size means importance. So they have a value system based on the size. So the bigger the figure is, like if you have multiple figures in a scene, if some of them are bigger than the others, then that they want to draw your attention to that. So it's a value system there where something is of importance. So you got to keep that in mind. Like I said, and you have to pull from the resource of your own mind, your own knowledge that you already have of other texts that you may do. So that's why I always recommend when people practice this, they pick one genre and then do a lot of it and then move to another genre. So like this is a so-called Book of the Dead. So if I would recommend staying with that, like get as many Book of the Deads of different people as you can, and then go through this and then move on to another genre, whatever categories that you could think of, and stick with that. Before you know it, you'll be able to cross compare what you know. Yep. But one thing I wanted to add to the conversation though is there's recent talk, well, not really recent, but it came back up in a conversation, separate conversation about the ancient Egyptian spiritual system. And there's a claim that's floating around, and I've seen it, I've heard it, that basically the gist of it is that the 42 laws of Maat, they don't appear until the 18th dynasty. This is the claim. They don't appear until the 18th dynasty in terms of attestation, in the so-called Books of the Dead. And because of that, and the assumption is that, Egypt's or Kemet's spiritual system is based on that, it is as if people are saying that ancient Kemet did not have a spiritual system until the 18th dynasty, or that the 42 laws of Ma'at didn't exist until then, and so on and so forth. And so what I wanted to add to the conversation is that all throughout Kemeti dynastic period, the deceased is declared Makheru, true of voice literally, but it means someone who has been vindicated, triumphant, or justified after a process was done. And this process is judgment. And in order to judge anything, you have to have a rule or a guide or something to judge by. You have to have a criteria to judge by. So all of these people who are declared Makheru, they had to have been judged by some kind of system that's in place for judgment. So the idea that a spiritual system is based on the 42 laws of Ma'at, and the 42 laws of Ma'at did not appear until the 18th dynasty, as if to say that Kemet, didn't have a system in place prior to that. And then because of that, they, jumps over to, okay, Sumer, the Code of Hammurabi, and Sumer had all of its laws intact before that, and so on and so forth. So though that could be problematic right there. So I just wanted to add to the conversation, because we're dealing with the judgment scene, this is only a little portion of it though, but obviously before the I guess canonization of quote unquote 42 laws of Ma'at, there were laws, these same things that were used, because people had to have been judged in order to be declared Makiru. That's my point. So that kind of really puts a little dent in those claims and those claims that are focusing that are floating around out there. So I just wanted to kind of make that point clear for the record, and since we're discussing this judgment scene right here, so they won't be able to get away with that. As far as the spiritual system as a whole, you have the kings, who are always referred to as the mdw-ntr, which is the divine servant. And you have to say a divine servant of what? And there has to be a system in place for them to serve, and for the rules and procedures on how to serve. So for anyone to go around and say that Kemet didn't have a spiritual system until the 18th dynasty, or to imply it, because I don't think that's explicitly being said, but to imply that, or to have people think that it's being implied, is disingenuous, and that's just wrong. So I just want to make sure I clear that up.
So wouldn't the coming from the Book of the Dead, what is known as the Book of the Dead, wouldn't that be taken from other coffin texts that were in existence before that?
Yes, we need to call it by the more I guess the more general name, because the book itself may not be named technically, but the gist of a lot of chapters begin with Runu Peret Imheru, which is the utterances for coming forth by day. So all of these, the content of this text with the slight variations come from the coffin text, which they call the coffin text, which is not the name of those texts, but it comes from the coffin text, which those in itself come from or derive from the pyramid text, even though the pyramid texts are not called that either. But so yeah, like you said, it's a flow, it's a chain. You can see a building up of these things and common themes and the shared spells, so-called spells. You can find direct quotes tracing all the way back to the pyramid text. Some of them are a little bit more embellished than others and stuff like that, but you can find direct quotes and everything. So again, so that's a good point. So that's another additional point to make, that okay, this system didn't just pop out of nowhere.
My question would be, wouldn't it come through, or wouldn't it be based on the cosmology too? So the age of the cosmology would tell you, could help define or determine the length or at what point in time they had a spiritual system.
Yeah, and then different people have a different meaning when they say spiritual system, so that would have to be ironed out too. But in general, because that's a whole discussion as well. What do people mean by spiritual system, quote unquote spiritual system? How can
all those terms?
Yeah, how can a system be spiritual? Because some people use spiritual synonymous with spooky, like unreal. So how can a system be unreal? What I'm saying, so, stuff like that, or are they talking about a more in-depth, meaningful way of using the word spiritual, as spirit as being energy, and so on and so forth, dealing with science and everything, whatever the case is. So, yeah, that can get kind of in depth, but I just wanted to clear that up though, because I saw it recently floating around, and we don't want things to kind of grow legs, because it just kind of makes us go backwards. And when we're making forward progress, it's like every time we make 2 steps forward, we're pushed 5 steps back as a whole, and we got to stop that. We're never going to get anywhere. We're always going to have a deficit of progress. We're going to seem like we're making progress, and then we get swooped back. It's like building a sandcastle, and then the tide comes in, and a wave just come and wipe your sandcastle away from the beach.
But what would be the underlying purpose of someone making a claim of that?
Well, the agenda, the motive or the agenda is to suppress Africa or Nile Valley or Kemet specifically, and to elevate Mesopotamia, Sumer, and so on and so forth. So you can figure out, so whoever's on that agenda, that line of the agenda, then that's what those kind of people champion behind. Instead of wiping the slate clean and following the evidence and allow the evidence to guide your thinking and your conclusions. Some people walk into things with ideas already in place, and that's pretty got to be careful of doing that. And science tries to have checks and balances to guard against doing that. So as long as people be more scientific in their approach and things like that, it will help to reduce the biases and things. Because I don't know if we can 100% get rid of all biases that people may have, but one of the goals is to cut it down and use objective expressions, as best and much as possible. So in other words, communicate in ways where it doesn't open the door wide open for opinion, and it's more so objective expressions. So like, for example, if I say that it's cold outside, that's a subjective way of expressing myself, and that opens the door for people to argue, because to me it's cold, but to you it may be hot or warm, and then we're arguing over whether it's cold or hot outside. But if I express myself objectively and say, hey, it's 75 degrees outside, now there's nothing to argue, because I've expressed myself objectively and gave you a more objective expression by giving you a degree. So saying 75 degrees Fahrenheit outside. Now I may think it's cold, you may think it's hot, but that's fine. We don't have to argue over it because we both agree that it's 75 degrees. You see? So we have to learn to do that as well. And so this is things that I encourage people to do when we have these discussions and the scientific discussions. We got to learn really how to communicate on that level. So, but that's all. I just wanted to clarify that up for the record. So, and it's appropriate because that was the piece that you all had brought up, was part of the judgment scene.
Do definitely appreciate that. Looks like we have another guest on the line who has joined us this evening. Go ahead and introduce yourself and test your mic out, Brother Isar Imhotep.
Peace and blessings to all of the family, the Seshew mdw-ntr family and crew and students and teachers and listening audience. I'm here checking y'all out, seeing what y'all doing, loving what y'all doing. And if I can contribute in any way, I'm pretty sure that I'll say something. But thank you for having me. Thank you for the successful link after the third try. And let's get it in.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's my apologies on the link.
Yeah, Hotep, Asar, just real quick, I know that recently, and I'm not trying to open up a whole whole conversation, although we could have a whole conversation, but recently, well, fairly recently actually, our good brother Dr. Wesley Muhammad has written a book called Ra is Allah, why Asar Imhotep is wrong. I believe that's the sub byline of the book and everything like that. And that was put out sometime in February, I guess around Nation of Islam Savior's Day, or whatever the case is. But I'm bringing it up because I wanted to ask you about or what are your, well, without getting into it, but when can we expect a kind of response to that particular book? Because you and Wesley Muhammad have been going back and forth in a very good way, actually, and I think the community needs to take notice of that and see how scholarship, how people argue by way of scholarship and not try to gangbang on paper and get very emotional and things that we kind of seen last year or the past few years. I think you all are doing it in an excellent way, which is on paper, which is articles back and forth, and now the articles have graduated into books. So I think Wesley Muhammad had a couple of articles, and I think you put a response into one of your books. I believe it's the Eluja, if I'm not mistaken. And now he's written a book, and it seems like that's his final product. So I guess my question, I'm bringing it up to see what are your plans on that?
All right, peace. Yeah, I mean, to give a little background on the situation between Dr. Wesley Muhammad and I. In 2009, Dr. Muhammad published a text entitled Black Arabia, the African Origins of Islam. And very good book. There's just this one section in the book where he made the argument that the god Ra of the ancient Egyptian lore and mythology was two things: was a loan, a borrowing of such from these Black Semitic speakers, unnamed Black Semitic speakers in Arabia, who migrated into Egypt and brought with them Ra. However, the second thing being that this god Ra is an Egyptianization of the Semitic Al, which in Arabic is pronounced Allah. And so basically, Allah and Ra are the same being in conceptualization, and as a result, and is as a result of these migrations into Egypt from these Semites. And so based on my knowledge of ancient Egypt and the deities and names and things of this nature, I had a fundamental disagreement with that claim. Being that it was such a radical claim, I expected more evidence for that claim. When I read his work and then read the sources in which he used to make that claim, no one demonstrated anything. It was just basically a hunch and sound alikes in terms of the names of these particular deities. And so what I ended up doing was writing an article that was circulating on the web for a minute. And then when I was putting together my book, Aluja, which is just a collection of articles that I've written on the net, I updated it slightly and added a second article. The first article basically demonstrating or showing my disagreement on and what questions that I felt should have been asked and answered in Wesley Muhammad's initial claim. The second article in that text is my suggestion for the origin and etymology of of Allah, and my hypothesis for what Allah is actually cognate with in ancient Egyptian. And I argue that it is more than likely cognate with Heru more so than Ra itself linguistically. So of course he gets wind of the text, he reads it, and he responds with two articles himself. And so these articles were at a time on his academia.edu page, but have since been taken down. In the articles, he's replied to, of course, my arguments against his 2009 work, which, I published my articles in book form, at least, in 2013. And so in his response, he changed the argument fundamentally. So apparently, by the time that I have actually published the 2013 work, he had changed his argument already in a text that I haven't read of his. So he duly and rightly pointed that out in his response. So now the argument is that Allah and Ra, that Ra is more than likely an indigenous name and deity and conceptualization of the ancient Egyptians, and not a borrowing from the Semites. However, that Ra and Allah are in fact cognates, meaning that these conceptualizations in words were inherited in the ancient Egyptian language and the Semitic, Proto-Semitic languages, and going into the Semitic daughter languages. And so when his 2 articles were released, in each one of them, these were supposed to be like part 1 and part 2 of a 3-part series. And so I was just waiting on the 3rd installment of his arguments to consider a reply to his rebuttal to me. And so he has not released a 3rd article. Instead, I assume that what was to be the 3rd article is included now in the book in which Brother Wujawu had mentioned, named Ra is Allah, Why Asar Imhotep is Wrong. So I haven't gotten a copy of the text yet, but again, I have read the first 2 articles, which are a part of that text. And so I assume he just, kind of rearranged it a bit and put it in book form with the additional info that would have been his 3rd article, and just made it a singular book that you can get into his full argument in one area. So when I obtain that text and, read it thoroughly, I will, respond appropriately. And so, but this, I've already been preparing a response because, again, I already read the 2 articles in which he wrote prior, which are basically included in this text. So even without me reading his full text, I can still respond. But that's not, how we do it. We wait for the full argument, read it in its entirety, because he may have changed something, from the 2 articles to the book. And so that's just all I'm waiting on. And so I've already, of course, been preparing a response, and I won't write an entire book on them. All I need is 1 article. And then, hopefully at this point, because it's been several years now, we can have a public discourse about, our disagreement and the merits of our arguments.
I'm glad you said that, because that was my next question. But hey, you answered it, because I was going to say the way that's why I say it's really good how you all are proceeding through this, because man, it goes back to 2009, and here we are in 2017. So that's 8 whole years on what essentially start off as one question that kind of branched out because the argument has changed a little bit. I know, some people will call that moving the goalposts, but regardless, it's a learning experience for everyone. Everyone can take advantage of it. So it would be good to see that the arguments are laid out on paper. People could read it, people could purchase the books or get the articles, however it ends up coming out. And then a public dialogue and exchange can happen where people can see it orally argued and so on and so forth. And that's really good. That's like a good model that everyone should kind of look at in setting up these kinds of scholastic arguments or back and forth and things like that. So that's good. But yeah, I just wanted to ask you that because I'm trying to keep up with it. I've been keeping up with it actually from that 2009 article, originally. So, I've been following it and just wanted to see where it is now. So that's good.
Yeah, I just want to say that it is a good discourse because, you know, it forces one to reevaluate one's methods when doing certain types of research. And always, you know, regardless of the outcome, you learn a lot honing in and doing research on a specific topic. And other knowledge comes out as a result of that research that that you may not have necessarily been focused on at some point in the past. And so that is exactly what has happened thus far in this dialogue, this scholastic dialogue that we've been having on this. And so what I'm going to be revealing in the response is, you know, really it's going to bring a lot of clarity and understanding to a particular historical and religious reality, and, you know, in terms of the process of evaluating Egyptian names and ultimately what that means. And then, you know, as you know, you were speaking on earlier, just on the scientific aspect. And so, you know, this research has brought out some interesting information as it regards the potential to use ancient Egyptian concepts and symbols to articulate real modern scientific phenomena. And not necessarily in the sense that the ancient Egyptians understood it as such, but that we can use it as a platform to do just that, you know. And so all of that just from a research question on the meaning and the history of the name and the conceptualization of the god Ra.
And that's kind of a little bit of I don't know if you call it irony, but Ra, you know, generally speaking, is the most potent force in nature, and science is the study of the natural environment. You know, most scientific fields is the study of the natural phenomenon. You know, so it kind of fits right in there that Ra would cause that to take place. You know, it's kind of interesting right there. But like I said, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I got a quick question. I wasn't sure if I missed it. Now, is there a release date on a confirmation on the rebuttal as far as the publication? Is the book coming out?
Yeah, I think he well, I don't know if he still
Yeah,
there.
I was just gonna say that. Okay, let me get clarity. Are you talking about my response or his recent response?
No, I know his book came out in February, but I know that you were working on a publication as well.
Yeah, so I'm working on Aluja Volume 2, and I am going to put my reply as the last chapter in that text. And so I hope to be finished towards, you know, sometime around October. And hopefully I'll have some of the articles and chapters vetted already. And so, you know, maybe towards the end of the year, something like that, in terms of when the text itself. And so I already have 2 chapters written. I have like 3 or 4 more to go, outside of just doing this one. And so this will probably be the longest chapter in the text, but that's because I will be doing a step-by-step tutorial, basically, on how to prove and disprove linguistically a claim of cognicy using the historical comparative method. So I got to do some explaining in the process. So it's going to be a workbook in essence, at least for that last chapter.
Is that different than the Ra book that you're working on?
Ra book, you can almost, in many respects, argue that this is a prelude. And so you'll get the fundamental gist of, you know, what Ra is and what it means, but not really. And so the details and stuff, like, but I'm preparing because the Ra book is going to be on Ra and Maat as one and the same conceptualization, and because they're built from the same root, linguistic root, and then, you know, of course I'll be expanding on this concept called paronymy, and I will show that, you know, Ra is kind of built off of two different roots, and let me say the deity Ra is built and conceptualized from two different roots, one having to deal with fire and then the other one having to do with order. Now, I'll just say that for now.
Yeah, I was gonna say you about to gotta save some juice. So yeah, that's good. I'm saying, see, I think that this is important. I think that this is a learning, this is, you know, this is a model that we all can benefit from. Like there's no losers in this, you know, in this exchange that you all are having. And it serves as a model on how we should proceed in good dialogue, you know, dialogues of you know, the conflict of views and conclusions or information that people may be standing on. So, you know, like you said, this question started in 2009, and it basically kind of makes you a better person. It's just like boxing. You know, if you go up against somebody and you have to, you know, you have to work out, you have to go through training for the fight itself, but even the benefit of winning a particular fight, but still you're in better health, you're in better, whatever the case is, better shape, you know, your body's toned, you know, you got stamina, regardless of the fight. Let's say the fight is canceled at the last minute, still you're in a healthy place. So likewise with scholarship, just going through this kind of work, it just makes people better, period. So I would like for more people to see this as a model exercise for all of us to do, you know, an approach. And I think that we've kind of did our best to kind of have that approach with Professor Walter Williams and his claim, because he wrote a book called The African Origins of Christianity, and he has another one called The African Origins of Islam. And in both of those books, we didn't have a disagreement with the book in its entirety or anything, but it was a particular claim in the appendix, which was pretty short, 5 pages, I believe, where he made claims about the Seshew mdw-ntr, or the hieroglyphic writing system. So we took that and wrote a book, and kind of did what you just said. We, you know, we wrote it in 2 parts. Part 1 is really just giving some gist, foundation information on how the writing system works itself and defining terms. And then part 2 of the book is an actual rebuttal to the points made by Professor Williams. So, you know, we put it in writing, and, you know, and everything, made sure he received a copy, or a copy was sent to him, and so on and so forth. So we did our best to follow that same model. And we see, hopefully other people will pick up on that, you know.
Before the show started, there was a question for you, presented to you, Jawu. The question was, they know tomorrow you have the no pseudo tour, and I guess they want to know some of the information as far as some things that may be covered. Also, is there a DVD or some way that people will be able to get the information who are unable to make it to Atlanta to attend the tour?
Yeah, well, the no pseudo tour, you know, it's in its baby stages, so we're building it up. We're getting people, you know, to become more aware that it's actually going on, and so also with the recording and the technical side of it, in terms of what we're doing. So we hope to record it and make it available. I know last time, or the last few times, people that were in attendance, they live streamed it live on Facebook, you know, while it was going on. We may do it different this time. We may just record it and actually put it out for everyone to see after we polish it up and make it, you know, nice and good and presented. In terms of what I'm covering this time around is that I'm going to share and have a discussion with those in attendance and of a question. And the question is, what do UFOs, God, and magic all have in common? And basically, I want to have a discussion and have everyone answer that question. You know, we all come together and answer that question. And you know, so I just want to have you know, some dialogue. I'm a people person, you know, dialogue type of person. So that's what I'm going to raise this time around. So again, you know, what does magic, God, and UFOs have in common? And I'm sure people, you know, a couple of things will pop up in people's minds at first, you know, firsthand. But you know, I like to explore that question. But I'm making a point with it, you know, so, and I'll save that for tomorrow. But we do hope to record it. It's gonna be myself, the brother Unk, and the brother Black Panther, and I believe the brother Nahisi will be in the building. So that's tomorrow. It's from 1 to 5. So we'll go in on it. It's gonna be interesting, you know. It's gonna be interesting. But that's all I'll say. You know, like right now, I gotta like put my hand over my mouth because I'm itching to talk about it right now.
Right. I'll say. Sorry, you have a answer to that question. You won't be present at the presentation tomorrow, so maybe you have an insight that we can hear.
It could be summed up in one word. The answer can be summed up in one word, but
I already told you my reply, right? What I thought it was.
Yeah, what was your answer?
They all are used to explain the unexplainable.
Okay, that's good. See, it could come down to one word, but it's the discussion of it and why that is that makes it worthwhile. So, you know, there's gonna be several points that I want to make in having that discussion, because what it does, it sets the foundation for further discussions. It lays the groundwork for other discussions to spring forth from that. And so that's why I'm doing it this way. And I may do it several times because it really needs to hit home. Yep. So people may have the answer, but you know, it's not about the destination, because you know, an answer is the destination, but it's about the path and the travel to get there that makes it worthwhile. So that's what I want to do with everyone tomorrow. You know, so. But yeah, so, but that's tomorrow, and yeah. So I look forward to Asar's response in the Eluja book, and I think people appreciate it. You know, the No Pseudo tour. The idea behind that is because you know, we can't teach classes in those type of formats, because a class, you know, one of the requirements to have a class is you have to have a consistent body of students, you know. So when you're doing public, you know, speaking like that, it's a revolving door of people. So you can't really have class. So that's why we switched it over to this kind of concept of No Pseudo tour. So we're basically taking worthwhile claims that are made and addressing them. So we just putting them to the test. That's it. And I think that's a good approach, because eventually, you know, once we do the worthwhile claims, we can't do all the claims. But the worthwhile claims, then it cleans house. It basically sets the stage to bring in good, clean information. And I think that's what we need as a whole, you know, because just like people, you know, you buy new furniture, you first clean up your house before you bring in new furniture, new carpet and stuff like that. So that's what we're doing with the communities, is that, you know, clean up the pseudo information. And we're defining what pseudo is, because some people misuse that word, you know, and, you know, I understand how people are using it, but sometimes it can get a little out of hand.
So you clean the house, huh? Spring
Yeah,
cleaning.
we have to, because pseudoism is dangerous, and it's dangerous. It's detrimental. History tells us that. You know, the example I give real quick, the quick example I give, you know, because pseudo in and of itself, it means fake. Like the word pseudo itself, it means fake, and fake has different senses to that word, but basically, the practical application of pseudo science versus science is comparable to whether you can eat real food versus pseudo food or fake food, you know, and you can't live off of fake food. So fake knowledge or pseudo science, we can't really do anything with it. We could play with it just like you could play with fake food. You know, we could play around with it. We could talk about it all the time. We could, you know, go back and forth, argue over it, and, you know, this and that. But the actual practical use, the effectiveness of pseudoscience is very, very, very low. And so, you know, so it becomes dangerous because it's like, you know, you're filling up your gas tank with fake gas with the intent of traveling real far. So that's what you're thinking. And then once the time comes for you to get in your car to travel, that bad boy won't start or you won't get very far, then it's over. So we don't want to come to that point. That's where it becomes detrimental. So we're consuming this pseudoscience, but yet we're acting as though we're going to use it to our benefit. And you just can't do that. So it's really, really detrimental. I mean, you know, we have to have this anti-pseudo attitude.
We were just discussing that recent video over the chakras.
Yeah,
it was posted.
And also, I every time I talk about pseudoscience or pseudoism and stuff like that, I always also try to throw in there and be careful that we also can't throw the baby out with the bathwater, because, you know, a lot of people will quickly say something is pseudo and then they want to throw everything away. But you can't. You have to put in the work and know specifically what's pseudo and what's not, because a lot of this stuff that people are doing that can be labeled pseudo overall, there's things in it that's not pseudo, that's on point, that's on a factual basis or something, you know. So we have to be real careful with that too. So I make sure I balance it out and things, you know. And I think I explained that on that video you're talking about. But but on the No Pseudo tour. Oh, say it again.
I said someone be reaching too though.
Yeah, you got both ends, you know. So we have to, that's our job. And overall, Shekanta Giop, he set the bar. He's the standard for our day and time. He's the standard. We can't go below that. We have to build on that. And to go below that is to really just kind of disrespect the hard work that he put in and others like him, Jacob Carruthers, the greats that come out of that school that have passed on, John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben, and everybody else that
Asher Hilliard.
Yes, there you go. That's what I was trying to think of. Asa Hilliard. Yes. And they set the standard, you know, collectively they set the standard. So we have to do better. With in terms of language, Ankh Mi Ra, we can't go backwards, you know. So, you know, that's my thing. So we have to make our elders proud and do better. But I see this pseudoscience is, you know, and we're fighting an uphill battle because pseudoscience is attractive, just like movies. Science fiction is attractive. Like, you know, science versus science fiction. Most people want to go to a science fiction and watch science fiction because science means hard work, you know, and by nature we want to appeal to our laziness. So it's attractive. It makes money. And, you know, but anyway, I don't want to go on, but it's something that's hurting us in the long run. And really the wise among the people have to keep their fingers on the pulse of social evolution, because things change over time very, very, very slowly. And if you don't keep up with it and look for patterns, you'll miss it. because walking through our lives, you know, in real time, you don't see these things because everything's happening in real time. But where we are today is a result of a cascade of things that took place previously. And so if we don't keep up with it, then we won't know where we are. And the same thing happens with where we are in terms of academic scholarship and things like that. For example, look at the entire society. You know, now we have a new phrase that's been coined, fake news or alternative facts. Like nobody's really saying those phrases prior to late last year, you know, I guess since Trump been in office. But that's a result of something, you know, it didn't, you know, just happen overnight. So you have pseudo news, which is saying fake news, you know, and alternative facts, and people are gobbling it up. But it goes a long way. People are, you got flat earth, that's gained legs again and things like that. You have the defunding of scientific, you got global warming being taken off of you know, governmental policies. They're you know, basically repealing all of the standards that was set by the Obama administration with that. And I'm only bringing this up because you know, the level of intellect of the society is reflected in this, in all of these things that are going on. And we see a diminish of science. Science is being attacked. Institutions are being attacked. You know, just the idea of wanting to be true and factual is being attacked. You know, the freedom of, you know, the checks and balances, what things are being attacked. So we have to remember that NASA, the funding for NASA, you hear these scientists like Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse Tyson and these other scientists, they'll tell you that NASA, there's been a reduction in funding for scientific, you know, discoveries and research and things. So, you know, all of this is a reflection of that. We got to reverse that. Can't save the whole world, but man, we got to get some good, build a scholastic scientific army though. And that's what I'm on. So anyway, that's a no pseudo tours trying to do that. Yep. But that's it. That's all I got. Otherwise, I'll talk to y'all forever.
All right. Well, I see our glyph came down. We probably should. I guess that's why we call it Freestyle Friday, because you never know how we're gonna end up going and freestyling. So I guess we should go and conclude our show with. I don't know if anybody had any more questions about the glyph we went over, transliterated and translated tonight. If not, I definitely want to go ahead and end the show and have Emicat close us out, if she doesn't mind.
No, I don't mind. Dua for you know, the show, the input, and all of that. So if you're listening, again, dua for tuning in and for participating. For those who participated, you know, that's much appreciated. And if you're watching and you haven't subscribed to our YouTube page, you know, feel free to do that and share our videos. And if you haven't joined our group page, do that. That's Seshew mdw-ntr on Facebook. And you know, check out the website as well. We have the website is mdw-ntr.com, and we have some of the inscriptions that we go through here. We do some of them already put on the website. The rest we intend to have them published there as well. So do check out the website, and you know, you can join this free membership. There's also paid membership, and paid membership has its benefits. So you know, if you want to learn more with the language, you know, join. Check out the books. We have 2 books. We have A Beginner's Introduction to mdw-ntr by Wajal and Iberi Maat, and then we have another book discussing the decipherment of the hieroglyphic writing system, and that's by the team, the Seshew mdw-ntr. And you'll find all the information on the website. You can also get them on Amazon as well. And also, while you're listening, regarding our guest Asar Imhotep, also you can check out his website, which is asarimhotep.com, which will be ASARIMHOTEP.com. And he also has a few books out there, so do check out the website and order the books. They're also found on Amazon as well. So with that said, I'm not gonna ramble too much. Dua, once again for tuning in. We hope to see you again next week. And I will say get an affair for those who are on the night time, and pick an affair for those who are on the morning time, and go in peace. Shalom.